Today on the Wellness Growth Show, I am with Ted Finn, co founder of Uplift, a company focused on solving jet lag and travel fatigue for high performers, executives, athletes, and global teams. Ted lived this problem through decades of international travel, then teamed up with Dr. Charles Krebs, a wellness and neuroscience pioneer whose pressure point protocol is designed to realign the body clock in a few minutes. We will unpack the science in plain English, what travelers feel and measure after a session, how organizations pilot Uplift at scale, and where the platform is headed next. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Scott, and thanks for having me on today. Really a pleasure to be here on the Wellness Growth Show.
Appreciate you. All right. So let's start with this. In one or two sentences, what does Uplift do and who benefits first?
Sure. Uplift, Travel Without Jet Lag, is a mobile app that guides you, the traveler, to reset their body clock to their new time zone in about 10 minutes or less when you land.
That is awesome.
The benefit to that is for anyone who's traveled across time zones, you know that the adjustment period can be from 12 to 24 hours per time zone.
Yeah, that could be rough. I mean, I know when I've traveled, it takes me like 2, 3 days of just trying to force myself to like sleep at the time wherever I am and try not to take naps because it's like when you take those naps, it's like, oh, you're out. And then you end up like, where did the 6 hours go to the 8 hours go? You're like, I was supposed to be doing things here. Okay. So when did jet lag and travel fatigue move from a personal pain to a mission for you?
Good question. My background in history was closely related to international travel. My family moved to Italy when I was 14. I got the travel bug, and then my work started taking me all over the world. So, in a sense, I became intimately familiar with jet lag and travel fatigue as a lifestyle. And then it was when I met Dr. Charles Krebs, and we had become friends, and I got to know and start learning about his work, that he told me that he had a solution.
Oh my goodness. Did you meet him on the plane?
No, I it should have a lot earlier. I met Charles in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He was working at the Lydian Center for Innovative Healthcare and doing a project with Harvard University. And he actually treated a family member of mine for nerve and muscle damage. And
Okay.
through those appointments, I became familiar with him.
Okay. So, what did your years of long haul work travel teach you about the problem that most people are missing?
Well, I would say that all those years of travel were exciting and exhilarating and fun on the one side. And on the other side, they were exhausting, depleting, and sometimes bordering on burnout. And the talk or the conversation at that time over those decades did not revolve around health and wellness or prioritizing sleep. These are fairly recent conversations in our world. So basically, you were on your own and you figure out whatever system or systems worked for you. So there was a lot of wandering.
Okay. Yeah, because I think about like the things you try not to do even when you're on a plane, it's like coffee or drinking alcohol or whatever. It's like just hydrate, try to get up and move around. And I used to get upset because I feel like if I get on a late night plane or something and I was like, the first thing I want to do is go to sleep. It's like midnight, 2 a.m. or whatever. You're on a flight, you would want to go to sleep. And it just felt like within an hour or so, I'd be asleep. And all of a sudden, they're like trying to feed me. And I'm like, whoa. Okay.
I
So,
can yeah, I can say at one time or another, I definitely did everything wrong that you could do
yeah.
in
Okay.
terms of, managing your well-being and your time zone shifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
just live and learn. And that's part of why we're here, is to help others
Right.
not make the same mistakes that we made.
Okay, good, good. What is circadian misalignment in simple terms, and how does the pressure point protocol help realign the body clock?
Sure. First, let's talk about the problem. Circadian misalignment, also known as jet lag in travel, is really the difference between where you are and where you live, where you're aligned to your day night cycle, your schedule, your circadian rhythm, which influence sleep, uh, digestion, hormones, all of your body systems. Then you get on the jet plane and travel really fast, someplace 2, 3, 6, 12 time zones away. And you land, and your body's like, where am I? For me, back in Boston anymore. And I just got to Paris or Hong Kong, and it's a completely different time of the day. So my body and my circadian clock confused. It's not at home here. Maybe it's somewhere out over the Atlantic Ocean. And that misalignment creates friction in your system. So, classic jet lag. I'm exhausted. I'm in bed. It's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I can't sleep. Or it's breakfast, but my stomach is not cooperating. 'Cause at home, it's dinner or the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, totally thrown off. How do you separate true circadian misalignment from travel fatigue, like dehydration and poor sleep, and
Right.
or how do you address both?
Good question. We we try to take a holistic approach to this problem. We divide it into 2 parts. Part 1, we just spoke about, which is circadian misalignment, jet lag, where your body clock is not attuned and aligned to your place. The second part is travel fatigue, and travel fatigue can influence you dramatically even without crossing time zones. So let me give an example. I live in Boston, and every week I come to Miami, same time zone, but I like to take an early flight. So I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning at the airport, and then I work on and I forget to water 'em. Then I work on maybe I have a dinner that night. So sleep deprivation, dehydration, traveling on an airplane, pressurization is like being in the desert for dehydration, and then not scheduling my sleep. Most people schedule most things in their life. Few people schedule, and sleep is truly one of the most important pillars of health.
Couldn't agree more on that one. Okay.
So we look at the both and we try to address both of them depending on where you're traveling, what types of trips you're taking frequently.
Okay. So walk us through the user experience on say a long haul trip. When do you use the app? Like what do I do, and what should I feel afterward?
Right. So there's really 3 steps to using the app. We ask users to save their trip in the app before they leave. So let's say today's Monday. Tonight, I'm getting on a flight at 6 p.m. in Boston, and I'm gonna fly to so I'll save my trip today or at the airport. The app will calculate a solution, and we currently ask users to reset on or near arrival. And when you arrive, the app will calculate that solution. It will show you a video on how to find 2 pressure points with pictograms and descriptions and then it will guide you to pressure on the 2 pressure points on your left side for about a minute and a half, and on your right side for about a minute and a half. And then those pressure points are connected to one of your many body clocks, and it sends signals through the pressure, through nerve impulse to that clock, giving it, signal that it's now I've gone to Paris and it's 6 AM. So kinda like, you know how your clock on your phone resets when you land? That type it knows where you are. So the app has is dynamic. There's many, many solutions depending on many factors. We can talk about that later, but for the user, save a trip, follow the videos and pictograms, apply pressure left and right, and then you reset.
Okay. So how does the guidance change based on trip direction or time zone change, like schedule limits? Because I even think about because you kind of mentioned, well, if you arrive at 6 a.m., what if I arrive at midnight? I'm like, I need to go to bed.
There is an algorithm in the app that calculates the solution. There's over 100 combinations. So let's say my flight was delayed an hour. I could update the arrival time and then perform the exercises. Or in Paris and tight connection to the city in Europe, and I just don't have time to reset. I get on the next land, I update the arrival time, and I can do the exercises when I land at my destination, or even a couple hours later, I get to my hotel.
So it's like if you missed it or you're so busy and maybe you're getting through customs immigration or whatever, getting your luggage, all that good stuff. And then you're just like, okay, when you get to the hotel, you could still then like, okay, now I need to reset.
So we have users, depending on whether they're new or highly experienced. So we have different user experiences. For first-time users, we recommend finding a 10-minute, 15-minute pause in travel, which can be hard, and just resetting them. For power users, most of us reset on landing before we even get to the gate. It we're used to doing it, we know how to find the points, we're experienced, or I'll just stop at an empty gate knowing my bags won't be there and just take a few minutes to reset. Alternatively, we have some power users wait till they get to the hotel. They just like to get to their destination, hotel or home, and then reset.
Yeah, I could see that just like with the stress and all the things that you're thinking about and getting ready and stuff.
It's
And
a
if it,
very hectic time. So we try to give the user flexibility on when they can use the app. The only suggestion that we have is try to use the app as close to landing as possible, especially if you're gonna be outside. Because once you go outside, the natural light starts to shift your body clock slowly, but it starts shifting. And then we lose track of where you are.
okay. Good point. Good point. Okay. So you work with executives and pro athletes. Share maybe one anonymized example where performance improved after using Uplift.
Sure. We have 2 user personas who are related. Global traveler who care deeply about performance and or wellness and well-being. I work with a professional cycling team now for over 4 years, and they compete in over 20 countries. and they've traveled the same schedule from year to year. So one of our cyclists lives in the UK and recently traveled from the UK to Shanghai in economy, arriving 36 hours before a 4-day stage. So we put together a complete performance plan using Uplift, staying hydrated to get him to adjust. And he had really good results. He's done this event many years and had some of his best performances.
Awesome. That's great
And
to hear.
then he finished that race, got back on a plane from Shanghai, flew to Italy, and 2.5, 3 days later, did a one-day race with a day off followed by another day race. So we've collected some data from our athletes and analyzed their performances and talked to them, interviewed them to learn about our effectiveness.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So if a traveler is not crossing time zones but still feels worn down, how do you help them recover?
Good question. We focus on the travel fatigue part of the equation. We provide general advice in the app around this. Charles, my co-founder, and I have over 5 million air miles, and the rest of our team and advisors have another 10 million. So we learned a couple of things along the way. But essentially, we're going to recommend that you stay hydrated. That's about 8 ounces or 240 milliliters of water for every hour of flight. When you get up early or stay up late, we want you to try to schedule your hour time for sleep. We want you to get outside and get enough light, which all helps to reinforce your body clock system, whether impacted by jet lag or travel fatigue. We want you to move your body, whether you're an athlete or you just like to go for a walk. And combining those and scheduling sleep will help you to be your best on that trip, actually over time, because travel fatigue is cumulative. And we've learned from surveys of business travelers, over 10,000 business travelers, the number one preventing them from reaching their performance goal for work is sleep deprivation.
Yeah, it really messes you up. So you describe Uplift as a B2B to C solution. What does a lightweight pilot look like for a company or team? And then who typically champions it inside the organization?
We've learned a lot from working with a number of teams and organizations. Generally, we find in most populations, there's a group of early adopters who experience the problem and are willing to try new things to address it. With athletes, it's sometimes easier because races are determined literally by inches or a second.
Milliseconds or something? Yeah.
So our value proposition to them is if we can give you 1% more performance, what does that mean to you? And that's the difference between winning and losing.
There you go. Okay.
For executives, we've been redefining what they've been called, which is road warrior, over the years to executive because their companies send them out to compete for millions of dollars worth of business, and they expect them to win. At the same time, they have adopted some new tools to support them because burnout is a big problem in business travel. And replacing key people or not having them perform at their highest level is very expensive. So a combination early adopters who heard of us or have tried the app, and also companies that are investing in wellness for performance.
Okay.
So different stakeholders could be HR, could be travel manager, could be an executive in the company who's using it and said, "Hey, this is great. We should everyone should have it."
Yeah. Okay. What are you seeing or where are you seeing the fastest traction right now? For example, travel programs, work performance, or executive wellness, and why?
Well, this past summer, I spoke on this topic at the Global Business Travel Association global convention in Denver. There were 5,000 people from the business travel community there. And in the wake of COVID, where duty of care, safety, health, and related issues were elevated and addressed for the most part, the next stage of that is how do we provide sustainable performance and wellness tools to our travel that don't cost the earth? Because we can't put everybody in first class. It's very expensive, and it's not a guarantee of, well-being because they keep bringing you food and alcohol.
Do you need more? Do you need more? It's like none of the glass.
Yeah, which seemed like a good idea at the time, but, not the best for dehydration and avoiding sleep disruption.
So, if a potential partner is listening, what is the simplest first step to explore, even like a pilot together?
Well, certainly they could reach out to me personally, or they could go to our website, upliftnaturally.com, and read about the solution, the science, the history, the testimonials. And also, if their organization has a population of travelers who are traveling internationally or coast to coast very often, then if they know that it can take 12, 24 hours to recover from each time zone cross, and they look at their travel management system, they probably have travelers crossing 50, 100, 200 time zones a year. The amount of recovery time for those travelers is measured in weeks. And what we've learned from our power users is that we can reduce that recovery time by 50% or more between both jet lag and travel. One of our power users is a global expert on resilience, and she's traveled over 300 time zones using Uplift, and written a book about travel and resilience. And in her experience and others, that the reduction in total recovery time is at least 50.
That's amazing.
It is. And
Yeah.
time, most people don't have 10 minutes to do stuff. We're talking about days and weeks of quality time. So that you can be your best when you travel overseas, and when you return home, you can be present for your family and friends and get back into the office on a reasonable schedule without really depleting.
Yeah, and showing up, right? I mean, showing up and you're not just kind of, I don't know, brain fog and all that comes with it. Just totally thrown off and just not your best. That is amazing. I appreciate that. So for leaders who want to try Uplift, what is the simplest way for them to start?
Well, we have made it very easy. You can go to the App Store and search Uplift Travel Without Jet Lag. And we have a free trial to get started. And then you can choose from a monthly or yearly subscription. It's very inexpensive compared to the cost of travel. We do think it's best that you spend 10 minutes to onboard and learn how to use the app and what to expect before you land in a country in the morning and try to use it.
That's a good idea. Okay.
For users that onboard and use the app consistently, we are 90-ish percent effective in eliminating the majority of the jet lag and reducing the travel fatigue part. Because what Uplift really gets rid of is that lying awake in the middle of the night, and I can't go back to sleep. And I'm like, "It's 4 AM, what am I gonna be like by 4 this afternoon?" So our users get a chance to go back to sleep because their clock is aligned with where they are, and that makes everything else in life better.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ted, Finn, everybody, thank you so much for this. I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're so welcome, and a pleasure to speak with you today, and again, our mission is to help global travelers and make their lives sustainable and healthy and productive.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Wellness Grow Show. If today's conversation sparked something for you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the stories, strategies, and insights from the front lines of wellness innovation. If you're a founder, operator, or health leader exploring growth into institutional markets and have a story worth telling, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out directly on LinkedIn or YouTube. And if you found this valuable, share it with a peer or post it online. You never know who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay well, keep moving, and keep building what matters.